Hook it and cook it. From the catch to the kitchen, it's your front row seat to learn mouth-watering new ways to fix seafood. It's time for Hook It and Cook It.
Welcome to Hook It and Cook It. I'm your host, Frank WILEM. Today we're making grilled tuna with a ginger soy sauce and a mango and pineapple salsa. Chef David CRABTREE from the Island View Casino in Gulfport, Mississippi will be along with that recipe. But before we cook it, we gotta hook it. Tuna fishing is one of my personal favorites. Some people prefer to chunk for these fish, which involves tossing over pieces of cut bait, one of which has a hook embedded in it. Others favor live baiting with threadfin herring and such. Oftentimes, we're fishing a tournament when we're out in blue water, so we generally troll plastic and natural baits to target billfish, dolphin, wahoo, and of course tuna at the same time. During the early morning and evening bite, we'll often switch to light leaders with tinsel rigs and ballyhoo for the more finicky tuna. It's not unusual to hook a tuna just before dark, such that you end up fighting it and trying to boat it at night, adding yet another set of challenges to an already difficult endeavor. When fishing in the Gulf, we sometimes fish structure, but more often fish current rips or around oil rigs. Something about fishing structure teeming with bait makes fishing the rigs a favorite for me. Seeing schools of tuna breaking the surface in a feeding frenzy is sure to get my pulse racing. Gaffing a tuna can be quite a challenge even during the daytime. A lot of fish are lost at the boat when the fish pulls the hook, the line breaks, or a gaff shot is missed. Trust me, I know, I've done it. All it takes is gaffing the big fish a little too far from the head, and bam, the fish, and sometimes the gaff as well, is gone. So if we're not fishing a tournament, we often favor harpooning, which is generally easier. The harpoon features a long shaft with a detachable point to which the line is attached. The free end of the line is then tied off to a cleat on the boat. When the fish is harpooned, the pole is designed to break free, leaving the fish linked to the boat by the heavy line. But finding a 100-pound plus tuna stand up at any time is one of the most exciting fishing moments for me, and one of the most physically challenging. We've caught as much as a half-ton of tuna in a single trip. That's a whole bunch of tuna steaks, sushi, and tuna fish salad. All right, we've got our fish, and when we come back, you'll learn how to make a pecan wood-grilled tuna.
What I like about the dish is the flavor of the pecan wood, the smell of it, the freshness of the fruit on it, and then the ginger soy butter sauce.
Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. Let's fire up the Lynn Meadows Discovery Center kitchen with Chef David. Well, David, looks like you're pretty well ready to go. What's first?
Well, we're going to do the a dish that we do at the Beach Boulevard Steamer. It's our pecan wood grill tuna with a ginger soy sauce and a mango and pineapple salsa. So first we're going to get the sauce going. It's a reduction. We're going to start off with our orange juice. We've got about a cup and a half in there. And then we're going to do some pineapple juice. We're just going to let that reduce down really well. A little soy sauce.
Anything magical about juices? Just whatever you get at the grocery store?
Well, taste them. If it tastes good, use it.
But it doesn't have to be fresh juice, for example.
No, it doesn't. The fresher's better. A little ginger. We got about 3-4 slices of ginger there. And we're going to let that start reducing down a little bit, and then we'll work on our fruit salsa. Heavy cream and a little bit of butter goes in a little bit later.
Okay.
We're going to work on our fruit salsa over here. We're going to start off with our pineapple. We got about a cup and a half pineapple. And the salsa can be, it can be different fruits. You can add little nuts to it if you want. We're doing pineapple and the mango. It's already diced, so we're just going to put that in there.
So I guess some of this can be driven by what's ever available to you at that time of year, is that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Whatever you can get. We're going to put a little lime juice, a pinch of salt and pepper, a little bit of honey, and that ensures for the sweetness of it. Sometimes your fruit isn't quite what you want it to be as far as flavor or sweetness. A little bit of sauteed onion goes in there. Sauteing it just brings out a little bit of sweetness. And then we're going to use a little bit of cilantro. Now, first time I tried cilantro, the chef told me it tasted like soap. So I stayed away from cilantro for probably 2 years after that, because why would you want to put soap into a dish? But a little bit later in my career, I started playing around with it, and I found that it gives things a freshness. It gives them a bump of freshness, and that's why I like to use it. It's also one of the mostly used herbs internationally. A lot of countries use it.
Well, I know I've heard that cilantro is one of those things you either love or hate, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I'm in the soap class, but I'm definitely in the class I don't particularly care for it.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing with it. We got our reduction going pretty well there. We're just want to leave our whisk in it there and pull it off to the side to make sure it doesn't
boil over there.
Boil over.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've got our salsa here.
Now you can prepare all this ahead of time, you said,
You can. The salsa is actually better done ahead of time, especially with the mangoes. If they're not quite ripe, put them in there with the lime juice and everything, and by the next day they'll be set and ready to go.
Are there any kind of fruits you would not want to use? I mean, like apples or something like that?
Figs. Anything soft you probably wouldn't use. Figs are something that you'd slice, maybe lay on the plate, but mostly hard things. Apples work well in it. You want to get a little bit of crunch, but you want to have a flavor. With our sauce here, we're going to go ahead and add our cream.
So that's been cooking, what, about 3 minutes or so?
3 minutes, yeah. And depending on how big of a batch you're doing, we'll tell you how much cream things you're going to use. And we've got our yellowfin tuna here, which is a beautiful tuna. There's plenty of color in it. At the steamer, we have, like I said, a pecan wood grill. So prior to coming over here to the Lynn Meadows kitchen, we marked off the tuna so it'd pick up a little bit of flavor, and it's still rare on the inside. So what I like about the dish is the flavor of the pecan wood, the smell of it, the freshness of the fruit on it, and then the ginger soy butter sauce.
And you did say that was yellowfin, right?
It is yellowfin tuna.
Yeah, I saw today where a piece of bluefin tuna was selling for $3,600 a pound. Whew. Like a $1.5 million fish. So that's not what we're eating today, right?
How do you eat that?
I think that's very carefully, very small portions.
But we're going to let our sauce go ahead and reduce down. We're going to finish that at butter in the end.
How can you tell when it's cooked long enough to be reduced?
Well, you're looking for a thickness, you're looking for the flavor, you're looking for all the water to basically evaporate out of it. So when it gets down, starts to thicken, then you've got all that flavor in there. And what the butter is for is just to finish it and give it a smooth flavor. You know, so.
I know. I mean, that's well and pretty. You don't have to worry about the cream separating or scorching like that, huh?
No. You can take heavy cream and you can freeze it, and the next day you can take it out and you can reduce it. Milk's not the same. You know, when you're cooking corn and crab chowder and you're using milk and half, you've got to really be careful how much you boil it. With heavy cream, you could dump a quart of heavy cream in there and you could reduce it down to half a cup, depending on the butter fat in it. But it's mainly to stabilize the sauce, give it a little smoother, carry the flavors. So.
Well, one thing that some of our viewers may not know is that David has a link to this kitchen. You know who designed this kitchen?
Emeril Lagasse.
And I believe you had a little experience with Emeril.
I did. I worked at Commander's Palace with him for a couple years. Him and Jamie Shannon was the executive sous chef, and I worked closer with Jamie, but every day Emeril was in the kitchen and he would come through and taste things. I actually applied there first when I moved over to New Orleans to go to the culinary school, and they were full. They weren't able to get me in, and I ended up going to work for Gerard Morez at Mr. B's Bistro within the Brennan family. So I did about 3 years at Mr. B's, and the kitchens were totally separate. different cooking styles rather. But I enjoyed working for Gerard Morez. Learned a whole lot of things. He called me Mississippi because I had a little country accent, and I enjoyed my time in New Orleans. I went over there to do a 2-year culinary program at Delgado. Ended up staying 7 years and lived on Bourbon Street a while and Royal Street, and had a good time. And it's the thing about New Orleans is you don't have to work with the chef. Most of the cooks in the kitchen have been there 10, 15, 20 years, and they're that's what they do.
They know their stuff.
And they know everything. So.
Well, I know you've been hit with a number of the casinos on the Mississippi Gulf Coast here, and I think Katrina had a little bit to do with that, didn't it?
I did, it did. I think Katrina's changed all our lives in one way or another, but I ended up leaving the Grand Casino eventually and moved down to Island View with Ed Layton and a few other people, management staff, and we've had a wonderful 9 or 10 years there. And hopefully we're going to move forward for another 5 or 10 years, and then I can retire and do like you do and fish all my life and maybe write a book or 2.
All right. Well, how are we doing on our sauce reduction here?
It's almost ready. It doesn't have much more to go, and then we're going to finish it with the butter.
So maybe allow 10 minutes or thereabouts to reduce it, you think?
That's about right. That's about pretty close. You want to wait till it gets down thick enough so it will incorporate into the butter. The butter will take it. If you add it too soon, you're going to end up with no emulsification, and that's what you're really looking for, the emulsification of it. Usually when it stops foaming, you're good to go.
When we return, we'll get the tuna going and finish the ginger soy glaze. I can't wait.
And the butter's there just to carry the flavors.
Add calories too, right?
Well, yeah.
Because it's good.
Yeah. You diet at home, you eat at restaurants.
Let's get back in the kitchen with Chef David to see how he's going to bring it all together for a great tuna dish. All right, David, it looks like the sauce is reduced. We've added the butter. So what's next?
Well, we haven't quite added the butter yet. It's got a really good thickness to it. The ginger's floating around in there, so we're going to crank up the heat on there a little bit and incorporate the butter in there.
Okay.
Some chefs like to put it in all at once. I like to put it in just a little bit at a time to make sure it's not going to break. If you add too much at one time, it will break, and then you got to start from scratch. So,
what do you mean by break for those of us
well,
that
it'll separate. You know,
okay.
You see the thickness it is now?
Yeah.
That's what you want to hold on to. And the butter's there just to carry the flavors.
Add calories too, right?
Well, yeah.
Because it's good.
Yeah. You diet at home, you eat at restaurants. And then it's got the whole ginger in there, so we want to strain that out. We'll strain it. And that's our finished sauce. And for the tuna, like I said, it's already been marked on the grill, so we're just going to finish it off in the pan. Already here to start to talk to you.
Now, is that something you'd recommend doing ahead of time, or is it best to grill it and then serve it immediately, or is this something you just did for today?
The only reason I did it today because we don't have a wood grill here, obviously.
Okay, sure.
Now, I thought the flavor of the pecan wood was key to the dish. It makes a huge difference in the restaurant. We have char grills in most of the restaurants. Lindsay Inman, when first developed, when we first took over Brazel's kitchen, when they first purchased it, that was one of the first things he wanted to do was get the wood grill in there. Not only was it a steamer, but we had the wood grill to do our steaks and things. Some of the restaurants that we worked in New Orleans at Mr. B's, that's one thing me and Lindsay had in common, is he also worked at Mr. B's. He has some culinary background, and he worked the grill often, and he knew the flavor of the pecan wood was essential.
And that makes a big difference, say, versus mesquite or hickory, or?
It does to me. I mean, I can tell the difference in the different kind of woods. The pecan is sort of like the Southern pecan beer. You can definitely taste the pecan in it because they use the roasted pecans. The cooking over a wood grill is it adds a lot of flavor. And we don't want to cook the tuna all the way. We only want it to be medium rare.
Right.
You know, most of our guests that come in that enjoy tuna, that's the way they prefer it. So.
Well, to me, it gets dry and kind of tough if you overcook it. That's
It
the one
does.
thing. The only way I found you can spoil it if it's kept too long, and even if you freeze it, the oils, I guess, don't freeze. Or if you cook it too much, it's the only two ways I've found that it's not delicious.
Right. There's very few fish that freeze well. Catfish freezes well, but tuna doesn't. It loses a lot of the quality in it because of the oils. If you cook it well done, then throw some mayonnaise in it, pickle relish, and make tuna fish out of it.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. So this is almost ready. It's almost pretty close now.
We usually go out and catch tuna, and my daughter was a teenager, and she went to her friend's house and called her mother one night and said, "Did you know that you can buy tuna in a can?" And she was amazed. That's the only way I'd eaten it growing up. So just enough that it's seared, and you're just trying to warm it up at this point, right?
Right.
Okay.
I think it's pretty close to ready. We're going to go ahead and plate it.
Okay.
We'll give them a I love the fruit and flavors of the dish. The sauce is pretty stable, so I believe we're going to go right over the top with it. And it should eat very well.
Well, this sure looks good. I'm ready to give it a try. It's on the plate, and I can't wait. When we return, it's time to dig in. This sauce is incredible. Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. Chef David Crabtree from the Island View Casino just finished making a pecan wood-grilled tuna dish. Now it's on the plate, and you know what that means. Well, David, I can sure smell that pecan wood grill, and my mouth is watering right now. So can we give it a try now?
Absolutely, absolutely.
This sauce is incredible.
Plenty of buttery oil in the fish sauce.
And then the fruit kind of lightens it up, doesn't it?
Right, right. And at the restaurant, there's when you order this dish, you come with a choice of our salad, our soup, and 2 sides as well, which we didn't present today, but.
Well, this is quite enough. I'm not sure that I would want to do anything but focus on this. This is wonderful.
Very good.
Well, I know I've fished for tuna a lot. I love catching them, and I think you've got a couple tuna too, and have had some interesting experiences offshore.
I have. I've caught a few tunas. The interesting experience that you're speaking of is actually a shark story, and it was the end of the day on a guy's boat, and there was a little beer involved that day. And
a little?
A little. It was the end of a day. But we hooked a nice about 8 to 10 foot shark, and we fought him for about 45 minutes. And when we got close to the boat, me and my son was supposed to gaff him and bring him into the boat. It was on Scott Hickson's boat. And my gaff, I caught gaffed it well. My son missed, and I went over the side. So
with the shark?
There's a video out there of it, yes. And I quickly got back in the boat. But it was a scary few seconds there. I
definitely want to see that video. Right. You got to show me that, okay?
I'll do that. The shark went to the bottom with the gaff, and the first thing Mr. Hickson said was, "You know that was a $150 gaff."
I'm guessing at that point that was at least your concerns, right? Well, I know I misgaffed tuna and lost a gaff, but I always managed to stay on the boat at least. Right. And of course, falling in with a tuna is a little different than falling in with a shark.
Well, I was not expecting that. It was like a train grabbed hold of me and pulled me over.
And it happened so fast, and with the tuna, 1 minute I had the gaff, the next minute it was gone.
Exactly.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much for being with us today, and appreciate it. The dish is great. You did a masterpiece here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We learned how to make a grilled tuna with a ginger soy sauce and a mango and pineapple salsa. I want to thank David Crabtree from the Island View Casino in Gulfport, Mississippi for showing us how it's done. Remember, you can find the recipe on our Facebook and webpage. Join us next time for a delicious edition of Hook It and Cook It.